In a forgotten village somewhere in rural Africa, where the roads are nothing more than dry paths of dust, and the houses are shaped from cracked clay, life moves slowly under the weight of the sun. Water is carried in buckets. Electricity is rare, and most families live day by day, working hard simply to make tomorrow possible. Among the villagers lived an old man who rarely spoke. His clothes were worn, his hands rough from years of labor, and beside him always walked the same thin dog that followed him everywhere like a silent companion. For years, people believed the old man had nothing. No money, no family, no plan for the future. He spent most of his days walking through the village quietly, observing the land, the trees, the soil beneath his feet. But one morning, before the heat of the African sun began to rise, something unusual happened. The old man arrived at a giant tree standing near the edge of the village, carrying nothing more than a shovel and a bucket. Without saying a word to anyone, he began digging into the dry earth beneath the massive roots. Villagers passing by slowed down to watch. At first, it seemed strange. Then it seemed ridiculous. Soon people began to laugh. Children pointed. Some adults shook their heads. But the old man did not respond. He kept digging, slowly, patiently, as if he could already see something beneath the ground that no one else could imagine. The giant tree was older than anyone in the village could remember. Its roots twisted deep into the soil, spreading like giant arms beneath the earth. The shade it created had always been a place where animals rested and children played during the hottest hours of the afternoon. Yet now, under that same tree, the old man continued digging day after day. The sun burned above him, the wind carried dust across the empty fields, and still he worked. The villagers began to gather, sometimes just to watch him. Some believed he had lost his mind. Others thought he was searching for something buried long ago, but no matter what they said, he never stopped. The hole slowly became deeper, wider, and strangely precise. This was not random digging. The walls were being shaped carefully, almost like someone carving a design directly into the earth. Weeks passed, and the hole became something more than just a pit in the ground. Children who once laughed now stood quietly near the edge, peering down into the shadows below. The old man's dog lay in the shade nearby, watching faithfully as if it understood the importance of what was happening. And slowly curiosity began replacing laughter. Because the deeper the hole became, the clearer it was that the old man was not simply digging. He was building something. Soon the work changed. The old man began mixing clay with water, forming thick mud with his hands. He pressed it against the walls of the excavation, smoothing the surface carefully. Layer by layer, the raw earth began transforming into solid structures. The walls curved gently inward, forming shapes that looked almost architectural. It was the kind of precision that surprised everyone watching. How could someone who seemed so poor create something so carefully designed? Day after day, more villagers stopped by to observe the progress. Some still laughed quietly, but others had started asking questions. What was he building under that tree? Why was he shaping the walls so carefully? And how deep would the structure go? The old man never explained anything. He simply continued working, focused, patient, almost peaceful in the silence of his labor. If you're enjoying this story so far, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and join our community here on YouTube. We share incredible stories like this one about creativity, resilience, and human determination. Your support truly helps this community grow, and a simple like on the video makes a huge difference in helping more people discover these stories. By the second month, the structure had become impossible to ignore. The hole beneath the tree had turned into a carefully shaped underground chamber. Instead of rough dirt walls, smooth clay surfaces now reflected the sunlight that reached inside. The old man carved steps into the earth, creating a descending path into the ground. When the first brave villagers stepped down those steps, they felt something unexpected. The temperature changed immediately. Outside, the air was dry and hot. But inside the underground space, the air felt cool and calm. The deeper they walked, the more they realized something incredible was happening beneath that tree. The chamber expanded further than anyone expected. Rounded corners, reinforced walls, and perfectly shaped entrances connected new rooms, forming underground. It began to look less like a hole and more like the foundation of a hidden home. For the first time, people stopped laughing entirely. They began to watch with respect. The old man's work did not stop there. Over the following weeks, the underground space continued expanding. Bamboo supports were added to reinforce ceilings. Small openings were carved through the roots of the tree, allowing beams of sunlight to filter down into the chambers below. These natural skylights filled the rooms with warm light that shifted throughout the day. Then came another surprise. The old man began carving narrow channels along the floor of the structure, guiding rainwater from the surface into a small basin underground. When the first heavy rain arrived, water flowed gently through those channels and filled a small pool inside the underground chamber. The villagers could hardly believe what they were seeing. A natural cooling system, a water source, a hidden home beneath the soil, built entirely with earth, clay, patience, and imagination. Soon, the place that once caused laughter became the most talked about place in the village. People came from nearby areas just to see what the old man had created. They stood at the entrance beneath the massive tree, looking down into the cool underground rooms carved from clay and bamboo. Inside, the air felt calm and quiet. The natural light created soft patterns across the curved walls. The pool reflected the sunlight like a small hidden oasis beneath the earth. It felt almost impossible that such a place existed under a tree in a village where most houses were small and simple. The old man never celebrated his work. He simply sat quietly near the entrance with his dog resting beside him. The same villagers who once laughed now looked at him with admiration. From the outside, the village looked the same as it always had. Dusty roads, simple homes, children running through the shade of the giant tree. But beneath that tree, hidden below the soil, existed something remarkable. An underground home shaped by patience, creativity, and determination. It reminded everyone that incredible ideas do not always come from wealth or advanced machines. Sometimes they come from someone who simply refuses to give up. And before we finish today's story, we would love to hear from you. Leave a suggestion in the comments about what kind of construction you would like to see next. Should we explore a bamboo mansion, an underground village, or maybe a hidden pool built entirely from clay? Your ideas help shape the future of this community.